Hello, welcome. Sarah Madras here, founder of Esteem Builders Coaching, where I teach open-minded individuals the relationship skills needed so that you can have successful, fulfilling, and long-term relationships. So if you feel like you suck at relationships and you want to get better at them, you are in the right place. As a motivational speaker and relationship therapist, I travel the world talking to churches, women's groups, corporations, all about interpersonal skills such as communication, solving conflict, and connecting so that you can have the health and happiness that you want. Because relationships are the #1 factor in determining your health and happiness. And also, relationships are the one thing we can't escape. They're everywhere. So unless you're planning on hiding out on a deserted island where you come in contact with no one, then you cannot escape relationships. So we might as well get really good at them so that we can enjoy life rather than being miserable or in pain or feeling like we're stuck with a roommate rather than having the love, respect, and appreciation that we desire. So I am here today to talk to you about people pleasing. And is your people pleasing causing you more stress? So essentially, people pleasing is when you put other people's needs ahead of your own at the expense of yourself. And so it's really about setting yourself and your relationships up for success. So I'm going to give you this example from my own life because it was such a huge smack in the face of shit turned bad real quick when I was people pleasing rather than listening to my own intuition. And I set my relationship up to fail rather than to succeed in that moment. So a few weeks ago, we were going to the Sprint store to get the upgrade. We were due for the upgrade on our phones and we were getting new phones. And my husband was so excited about this because he was really excited to get a new phone. And, it was just something he was really happy about. That's his thing. Awesome. And that Saturday, we were going to go after our son's flag football game. And unfortunately, throughout the week, we had been sick, the kids had been sick, and it was around 12:30, and that's usually lunch and nap time. And for any of you parents to young kids, hopefully you can relate to me on this one. Nap times are critical for well-being and survival. And so when our kids miss nap time, not only does it make our lives harder because they're cranky and, get whiny and get frustrated more easily, but I'm cranky, whiny, and get frustrated more easily because I didn't get any quiet, non-chaos time. Because when they're napping, that's my time to recharge. And so as we're looking at the clock and my husband's so excited to go and he's like, okay, we're on our way to the store, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking, oh God, it's 12:30. How long is this going to take? Are we going to miss nap time? Maybe I can get him to take us home first and he can go handle this on his own. And so I say, hey, why don't you drop us off at the house? I'll get the boys fed and down for nap and you can do this. And he was like, oh, I really want us to do it together. You're the one who talked to them, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay, I know this is important to you. And so we all went. He was like, you can take the boys to get lunch next door, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, we'll do this. Y'all, how much time do you think it takes to upgrade your phones and switch the information over or whatever? And so we're there. I have no concept of time because they don't have a clock in there and they have our phones and I don't wear a watch. So after a while, the boys are like, okay, I'm hungry. We're thinking we're going to leave soon. We eat some lunch. We walk back over. Still isn't ready. So I'm like, okay, we got to be ready in 10 minutes. Can I have the keys to the car? Get in the car, get the boys loaded up, turn the car on, and I see the clock. And it had already been 3 hours. 3 hours, guys. And so I immediately, all of a sudden, just feel like, oh no. And what's racing through my head is the panic of, oh my gosh, now we've totally missed nap time. I'm not going to get any quiet time, and they're going to be cranky, and I'm already tired, and I was already on low fumes before this started, and now I'm not even going to get my recuperation time. And oh my God, I just want to go home, but I can't because I can't leave my husband here. And so within seconds, that's like all in my mind, and I'm just thinking, I want to leave. I need to leave. I want to leave. But I can't leave because we're in one car, and it's still not done, and I don't want to leave my husband stranded at the Sprint store 10 miles from our house. And so as the situation, because now I'm feeling that, oh my gosh, you know, I'm out of options. I'm trapped. I'm so sad. I'm not going to get any downtime. And we're still there. And so by the time it was all said and done, it was 4 hours later. 4 hours of trying to entertain, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and like where I was already low on fumes. And so it ended up turning into a bad situation where afterwards my husband and I got into an argument, and I was like, I really just wish you would have taken us home like I asked. And it just snowballed because he was frustrated because he didn't get his time. He didn't realize it was going to take 4 hours. And it turned into a disagreement between us and a conflict. And it was because I didn't set the relationship up for success because I didn't listen to my gut and my intuition saying, hey, you are already low on fumes of like your threshold, your emotional threshold. Like if I was already almost on E, I can't keep the car going if I'm on E. The car will stop and it'll stall out, right? Well, that's how we work as humans too. If we've already, used our resources for other things throughout the week, for work, for, taking care of the kids that were sick that week, we were already low because we were sick that week, and that took energy away. If you're already low and then you go to people please some more, that's where conflict arises because you have nothing left in you. And you can't think rationally. Maybe you get angry or resentful or miscommunications happen, things like that. So it's important to check in with yourself and listen to your gut. And if it's telling you, I don't have the resources, the energy, or the time, or like I'm not in a place where I can do this right now, to communicate that to the people around you. To be able to say, no, I can't do this today, but I can do it tomorrow. Because that whole situation could have been avoided if I would have just spoken up and said, hey, I know this is important to you and that you are really excited about doing this today. I'm feeling really drained. The kids are really drained. I really don't want us to miss nap, get them down for the nap. And can we do this tomorrow? And my husband would have been like, okay, we can do it tomorrow. And we could have done it tomorrow on a fresh, full tank where we had resources and we had the energy. And so set yourself and your relationship up for success by listening and speaking up. Listen to your gut, listen to your instincts, and then speak up. Because the world's not going to end if you say, hey, can we do this tomorrow instead? And it actually makes it more successful because you can avoid the anger, the resentment, or the miscommunication and arguments that may occur. And so that is what I learned from that situation. And then I practiced that. When I realized that was what was happening, I practiced that later on, and I set myself up for success in a different situation. And that situation was when I was traveling, and on Southwest, there's no assigned seats. So I got on the plane, and I get severe motion sickness. So I take Dramamine, but it's still like, it doesn't take it all away. So it's important for me to sit from the wings up because the back is more bumpy and I get more sick and things like that. And it's, if you've ever had motion sickness, it's the worst feeling ever. And it lasts for hours and it's awful. So when I was boarding the plane, I realized, oh no, all these seats are filled. And so you try to leave space between you and another person. Like, I get that that's plane etiquette, but I was right near where it was like, uh-oh, I have to stay above the wing. And there was a woman sitting on the aisle and 2 empty seats. So I sat next to her, but I sat in the middle, because being close to the window, I can see out, and then that messes with my, your equilibrium or whatever, and then I get sick that way. So, I know I sound very high maintenance. And so I sat in the middle, which was next to her. And she looked at me and she said, this isn't a full flight. You can sit somewhere else. So in that moment, I had a choice. Either I could please her, and by not sitting directly next to her, and I mean, we weren't even touching each other, or I could set myself up for success and say, I have to sit, like, I need to sit here. And if you want, I can sit in the aisle and you can sit in the window if you don't want to be sitting this close to us. And so I spoke up and I said, yes, I understand it's not a full flight. I need to either sit in the middle or sit on the aisle. So let me know what you want to do. And she ended up sitting in her seat and I sat in the middle, and no big deal, nothing. And I, thankfully I didn't get sick throughout the flight and things like that. But if I would have people pleased, and if I would have got up and moved further back into the plane where there was seats in between so that you weren't sitting next to somebody, then I would have been setting myself up for failure of getting motion sickness. And then when I got off the plane, in order to go to do to perform my job and things like that, I would have been off my game because I would have been feeling sick the whole time, and then wouldn't have been successful in serving the people that I was there to serve. And so it didn't harm, the woman was not harmed in any way because we were sitting next to each other rather than a seat in between us. And so you can advocate for yourself and set yourself up for success, and it's not hurting anybody else. And a lot of times we trick ourselves into thinking, if I advocate for myself and I don't please others, that then they will be angry with me, that then they will reject me, that then conflict or things will happen. When it's actually the other's true, is that when you people please so much that it's taking away all of your reserves, that's where the anger comes from. That's where the resentment and the conflict comes from. So no one was harmed and me sitting in the middle seat. And so it's okay for you to set yourself up for success. And it's important for you to set yourself up and your relationships up for success by listening to your intuition and speaking up and saying what you need. Because in that situation, it wasn't, oh, I want to sit here. It's, I need to sit here for my health and well-being. And I didn't need to explain that to a stranger on the plane of, well, if I sit back there, then I get motion sickness and then I might throw up on you, or then I'll be motion sickness for 4 hours afterwards and I can't perform my job. You don't need to do all that. You can just say, this is a need. I need to go home and take a nap before we spend 4 hours at the Sprint store. Can we do this tomorrow? So trust in yourself and trust in the relationships around you that you can say what you need and that it's going to be received and it's going to be respected, and that the world is not going to end because you say, hey, I need to do this on Sunday instead of Saturday. Okay? So set yourself and your relationship up for success. If you have any questions or comments about this or want to discuss it more, leave a comment or shoot me your questions at the email provided in the description. So, as always, it is such a pleasure, and I hope that you gained a lot of knowledge and insight from this. And until next time, remember, build what you need. Thanks.